So the iPhone 15 just officially came out, and we're going to go ahead and compare it and take a look at it against the Google Pixel 7 and see which specific phone is a better one for you. Now, if you want to pick up some phones that I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside, the Google Pixel 7 that came out last year in 2022 around October, literally almost a year ago today, on the front has a 6.3-inch AMOLED display. Now with this particular phone, on the front, you do have a bigger display than the iPhone 15, but you also have a hole punch display this time around, rather than the dynamic island that is on the iPhone 15. So in this specific case, you're actually getting a bigger display, same resolution give or take, but you're getting more screen real estate than the iPhone 15, which is honestly probably a pretty big thing. Now you're also getting a 90Hz display on this phone as well. So although the phone isn't necessarily faster because of that display, you are getting a faster refresh rate at that point, which is a very, very important thing to keep in mind. Now, on the iPhone 15, on the other hand, you are getting a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, which is slightly smaller than the Pixel 7, but it is overall, I would say, kind of like a nicer display in my opinion. I feel like Google does a great job on their panels, but Apple does a significantly better job in this specific case, and that is something that stands out to me on the iPhone 15 in this specific case. Now it's the dynamic island, so technically bigger hole punch, which is kind of annoying, but other than that, I think it's a pretty good panel. And I would probably say the 15's panel is better in some ways, but the Pixel 7 with that 90Hz is probably slightly better in some other ways as well. Now, in terms of the thinness and thickness side, you can kind of see that between both. The Pixel 7 is a slightly thicker phone from what I can see, but they have two different types of design languages. So on the iPhone 15, you can see you have this kind of like curved architecture to it on the top, like the top part and the bottom part. You have the mute on off switch, everything. The Pixel 7, you have this kind of like curved side to it, but it also has this kind of like protruding camera lens where the iPhone 15's is more flush, but it still sticks out a slight bit. On the bottom of the Pixel 7, you also have the SIM card tray, which is very, very nice to have. The iPhone 15 is only eSIM, but a very interesting change this year is actually with the bottom of both these devices. Well, more so the iPhone 15. So with the 15 and with the Pixel 7, you're actually getting USB-C in this specific device on both of them, which is honestly pretty crazy. That is a very, very big deal. In and of itself, it's insane. But right now, I would still probably say on the Android side, it takes more advantage of that USB Type-C port over the iPhone 15. So that's a really big thing to keep in mind, in and of itself as well, because this is like first generation iPhone 15 USB-C port. Pixels have had this since what, like the Pixel, like since the original Pixel. So for so many generations since 2015, you've had the same USB-C port here. iPhones are just getting started, so we're going to have to wait and see what kind of happens there. Now on the back, dual ultra-wide and wide-angle lenses on both of them. You have basically the same type of like layout with wireless charging, IP certification. The iPhone 15 has one advantage with that MagSafe capability and the frosted glass back, which feels very good in the hand. The Pixel 7 has standard wireless charging, no MagSafe capability. Obviously, it's like an Apple certified thing. But the Pixel 7 does have reverse wireless charging, which is a really cool feature to have. So that is a really important thing to keep in mind. And once again, there's a lot of flip-flopping here. The iPhone 15 has some things that I like about it over the Pixel 7, but the Pixel 7 I think still has more of that flagship experience with reverse wireless charging, with a more advanced USB-C port, with the SIM card to be honest, as well as the 90Hz panel with that hole punch. So I would probably say on the outside overall, the Pixel 7 is kind of more of the flagship experience, but the iPhone 15 kind of feels more expensive in the hand because of that frosted glass back. So that kind of covers it up there. In terms of software and longevity between both of these phones are pretty much, kind of the top tier on their landscapes. On the Android, the Pixels always have the longest supported software majority of the time. On the iPhone side, the latest iPhone is always going to do the best. So between both, the iPhone 15 is pretty much going to be the one that's going to last the longest amount of time. The Pixel 7, I think, is still great. It's still going to be here for a long period of time as well. But usually it's not even close. The iPhone 15 is definitely going to win from that specific perspective. Now, let's go and do a speed comparison between both of these. The iPhone 15 has that Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 GB of RAM, but the Google Pixel 7 has that Google Tensor G2 chipset inside of it with 8 GB of RAM inside of this device. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both. Okay, now the Pixel 7 is on the left, the iPhone 15 is on the right. So we're going to make sure all the apps are cleared out in the background, and clearly they're all not cleared out on the Pixel 7, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's get into it. Phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And even just from that, for the first application that I just opened, the Pixel 7 is already a little bit slower. That doesn't really mean much, but it's kind of an important thing to keep in mind. Let's do camera, 3, 2, 1. And even on another application like that, the iPhone 15 was slightly faster. Again, it doesn't mean a crazy amount, but it's just one of those things to keep in mind that even basic applications are performing at a little bit of a faster speed than something like the Pixel 7. Let's go and do their app stores, 3, 2, 1. Now, the app stores always notoriously perform better, I would say, on the Pixels and on the Android side than on the iPhone side. But scrolling through, the iPhone 15 has a 60 Hz panel, and I've always noticed that scrolling speeds seem to be always faster and smoother on something like an iPhone than even on a 90 Hz panel like the Pixel 7. Hopping out of this one, let's get into a different one. We can try Genshin Impact, 3, 2, 1. This is a very large game, so it's going to take a little bit of time for it to open. But even in this specific case, you can see it already opened up and kind of performed a little bit better inside of the iPhone 15 than on the Pixel 7. And you can see we're already on the splash screen of this specific application. The Pixel 7 is still taking its time, and it finally got into it. And that's kind of a thing to keep in mind here. I've always noticed that on Google's Tensor chipset, they're very good chipsets, but they just need to perform a little bit better, and I think that's going to get there over time. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now with this application, it's not the biggest game in the world. Temple Run's like one of the oldest games ever. They both were on that downloading content thing, and even here the iPhone 15, slightly faster, definitely not the biggest difference in the world, but a slight difference, like a slight change right there. You can see again the iPhone 15 performed slightly better in this specific case. Let's go and get into like Snake versus Blocks, for example, 3, 2, 1. And even in, again, these are very basic games, very basic applications, and even this specific game was like not even that big of a difference, but even the iPhone 15 still won this one. Same exact case, same exact whatever, you can already know what's going to happen. Let's go and do stack, 3, 2, 1. And even in this one, again, the iPhone 15 is the winner. I feel like this is going to be a recurring trend with basically any application that you go ahead and open. It's going to be the exact same thing over and over again. The iPhone 15 is going to perform a little bit better, but the Pixels are still very fast for what you're getting. This is also a little bit of a cheaper phone than the iPhone 15. I think Apple did a great job with the silicon this year, but I do feel like with the Pixel side, it's good for what you're getting, but I do think Google needs to make a couple of more improvements. And honestly, Qualcomm, with their Snapdragon chipsets are still doing better in this specific case. In the camera department, dual camera setups on both wide and ultra-wide sensors. Now, there's a lot of overlap here. You can do 4K at 60 on the front and the back. Actually, the Pixel 7 can only do 4K at 30 on the front, but still 4K at 60 on the front and the back of the iPhone 15 is amazing. Lots of overlap between these two sensors, which is always really, really cool to have. Now, with the Pixel 7's camera, I feel like this is a very good sensor. However, I don't feel like Google is on the top tier market or even like a really good competitor against Samsung or Apple. I feel like iPhones are still performing better than the Google Pixel 7. And I still feel like Samsung with the Galaxy S23s, even the Samsung Galaxy S21 camera, I feel like is better than the Google Pixel 7's camera, to be completely honest. And that phone came out like so many years ago. On the Pixel 7, you have 8x zoom, which honestly is just not that good anymore, considering Apple with the base iPhone 15, is already performing better there. You have portrait mode on this specific phone, motion, night sight, camera, video, cinematic, a lot of basic modes that we have. It's still a great camera, but I feel like with Apple this time around, they did add a very interesting thing. So with the iPhone 15, they basically gave us 10x zoom this time around. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but that is a very nice touch to have. On top of that, video mode, cinematic mode, slow mode, time lapse, the whole 9 yards, like you have a very good sensor on the iPhone 15. I truly do feel like photos, videos, the whole 9 yards perform a lot better on something like the iPhone 15 than in the Google Pixel 7 in this specific case. So that is kind of my consensus of what I would kind of say with the iPhone 15 in general. I do feel like the iPhone 15 in some ways is the better phone. You're getting like a better build quality. You're getting a phone that's going to last longer. I feel like performance is going to be better and the cameras are going to be better on something like the iPhone 15. But I feel like with the price of this specific device at like what, $800 something, I don't really think it's like that great of a deal. And I do feel like Apple could be giving you a better phone than just like a USB-C upgrade with a frosted glass back. Like I feel like Apple needs to be doing a lot more in this area. This wasn't like a massive difference coming from the 14 hardware-wise it was, but I feel like a lot of things still need to be improved on the Apple side. On the Google side, the Pixel 7 is a great phone. This thing has significantly gone down in value in the used market. You could probably buy this thing for like half of the price of what it was before. So like really the choice is yours. I probably would argue though that something like the Pixel 7 is a better deal arguably than the iPhone 15. This one is probably going to be giving you the better value per dollar, but I do feel like on the iPhone 15, like if you have unlimited money, go for the 15. If you want a better deal, go for the Pixel 7. If you're trying to get a really good phone for the value, I feel like phones like the Pixel 6 Pro in the used market, the iPhone 13 Pro Max in the used market, I feel like an iPhone 14 used market are also very, very good options as well, especially a phone like a Galaxy S22 Plus or Galaxy S23 Plus in the specific case as well. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.